So, you're preparing for a show. You're putting in tons of hours of practice. You're running section after section, song after song. You're running the set top to bottom, bottom to top, left and right. And you walk out of the rehearsal studio feeling pretty good. You go play the show and you're checking out Instagram videos the next day and, man, something doesn't seem right. You could have sworn that you sounded better than you do. Maybe the guitar's out of tune, maybe the drummer's rushing, the bass player's dragging, who knows, but it's not as good as you remember it. Now, most musicians think that the more time you put in practicing, the better a performance you're going to get. But the truth is, the real cheat code to leveling up your performance is recording your rehearsal. Without that, you're just reinforcing bad habits. But with it, you can document, review, and improve your performance and hear yourself getting better. Hi, my name is Eric. I'm a music director, drummer, and producer based in Los Angeles. I've built shows for dozens upon dozens of artists over the years, and I can say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the number one most powerful tool that will get you the biggest breakthroughs in your show is recording. Musicians who record themselves level up faster. It's as simple as that. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over why recording is so important, how to do it properly, and how to use those recordings to level up your show as fast as possible. Sound good? Let's do it. Okay, so first things first, let's get an understanding of the problem. Now, unless you're rehearsing in a music venue, very rarely do we get the chance to step off stage, walk out front, in front of the PA, and listen to the band also while we're performing. It almost never happens. Most of the time when we're rehearsing, we're completely preoccupied and focused on our own performance. And rightly so. That's the whole idea behind a band. Get a group of people together who are all performing at peak level, and hopefully what they produce is greater than the sum of their parts. But unfortunately, this makes it really difficult to keep an eye on all the details. You know, maybe the keys player missed that voicing, the drummer kind of flubbed that fill, the bass player missed the break on verse 2, forgot to come back in, whatever it may be. When you're focused on being in the zone for yourself, it's really hard to know how the rest of your bandmates are doing, and especially how you sound together. So the only way to really know how you sound from the audience's perspective is to record yourself and get out in front of the speakers and take an objective outsider listen. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Now, let's talk setup. First things first, I'm going to be describing for you an ideal recording setup for your rehearsals. And full transparency, it's probably going to cost you on the low end somewhere between $3,000 to $5,000, depending on what gear you get, what you already own, whether the gear you get is used or new, and frankly, how good you are at haggling prices on Facebook Marketplace. But my goal in this is not to get you to spend money. The goal is to get you a setup that can give you the highest level of detail possible. So follow along, do your best, get as close as possible, because at the end of the day, the best recording is the one you have. Whether that's a full-blown multi-track or just you tossing your phone on a table and hitting record in a voice note. So the first piece of gear we're going to need is our mics and cables, right? Simply enough. Now, a lot of you might already own a lot of mics and cables, and that's great. Go ahead and use them. But you do want to make sure that everybody on stage is mic'd up as close as possible as they will be at a show. So that probably means a drum mic kit. That might mean some DIs for, keyboards. It could mean XLRs for your playback rig, whatever, vocal mics, etc. Now, once everything is mic'd up, you want to run all those lines into the next piece of gear on our list, and that is going to be our digital mixer. Now, in the digital mixer world, there is a huge variety of choices, and frankly, there's no limit to how much you can spend. But in terms of bang for your buck, we're probably going to be talking about the Behringer X32 or Midas M32. These are probably some of the most common mixers in the audio world. They are the Honda Civic and Honda Accord of mixers. They are fairly inexpensive, and frankly, for how much they cost, they're very capable. Now, next up, you're going to need a computer. Simply enough, you're going to connect that computer to that digital mixer. It's going to act like a gigantic audio interface, and you can multi-track the rehearsal. Lastly, you're going to need something to replicate your PA speakers. Now, I strongly recommend you do not buy PA speakers to do this. They're expensive and big and bulky and heavy and stuff. And frankly, probably not the most accurate thing to be monitoring your recording on. So the best tool for the job here is just whatever the best pair of studio monitors you can get your hands on is. Now for this next section, those of you who have engineering, recording, mixing, producing experience, you should feel pretty comfortable. However, if you're not up to snuff in some of these areas, this next section is going to be massively helpful. This is where we put together our signal chain. Now, the reason this is so important is because this is what your audio engineer has to deal with at the show. So, the better you understand the ability to not just produce a great signal, but to deliver it in the highest quality possible, the easier you'll make their job. And the easier their job is, the better you'll sound. So instead of the audio engineer having to chase around your guitarist and frequencies jumping all over the place and levels up and down and all this, doing damage control, instead they can focus on enhancing what they're receiving and making you sound even better. Now, when you plug in all of your lines to your mixer, I'm going to strongly recommend that you keep your mixer as neutral as possible. That means faders at unity, no EQ, no compression, and to the best of your ability, as little gain as you can. Why is that? Because ultimately, you may not be playing through this mixer at your show. So, any adjustments that you need to make of the signals going into it are best made at the source. Whether that's EQ, whether that's compression, whether that is output gain. It's best to do those at the source, that way you can travel anywhere and know that you're producing the signal that you intend to produce. Now, once you've got all your lines connected, signals are flowing, it's coming out of your speakers, everything's sounding pretty good, connect that computer, open up your favorite DAW, Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton, whatever, as long as it's not Reaper, and set up as many channels as are connected to the mixer, connect them all one to one, record ARM, and as soon as you're good to go, record and start running. Now, how you run your rehearsal from here is up to you. If you're a song by song type of person, that's fine. If you want to run top to bottom, whatever, that's fine. The goal is at the end to get to a place where you can look at each other and say, yep, that was a good performance. I feel good about that. I want to check it out. When you get to that point, hit stop, come out front of the speakers. Now it's time to review. Now, at this stage, I strongly recommend you get as many ears on this process as possible. Now, you might be the MD, you might be the artist, you might just be the person in your band who always does all the work. And if that's the case, sit there and enjoy the process. But the more ears you can get on this recording, the better and faster you're going to be able to level it up. Everybody's going to be able to listen to their own performance, self-assess, course correct, and take notes, versus one person having to keep track of every single little detail and every single mistake. As you're listening through and you hear an issue, whether it's performance or sonic, take note of it, write it down. If it's performance-based, just remember to pay attention to it next time you run. If it's sonic, however, there's a cool little trick I often use. Let's say there's a song that has a big guitar solo in it, and we're listening back, we get to the guitar solo, and it's kind of low. It needs to come up a bit. Well, one cool thing you can do is hop into your DAW, chop out that section, and gain up just that section of the guitar tracks. Run it to whatever it needs to be until it sits really good in your mix, and then take note of the adjustment you made, and then go back to the guitar and fix it at the source. Whether that's a boost pedal, whether it's a modeler, patch change, preset, whatever it is, make the adjustment there. That way you know that when you leave your rehearsal studio and you go to the venue, when you get to that section, the guitar is going to jump up right to where it needs to be, instead of having to rely on the audio engineer to guess. Now from here, just rinse and repeat. Record as much as you need to, listen back as much as you need to, but the end goal is to get to a place where you can all sit there, look at each other and say, yeah, it sounds good. When you get to that point, pause and enjoy it. Congratulations. That's the best place that you can possibly be when you leave your rehearsal. Because now you can walk onto stage, not just thinking that you sound good, but you know it. All right, guys, that's it. That's the end. You made it. I hope all that made sense. As always, whether it did or it didn't, let me know in the comments below. Questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, criticism, questions about life, whatever it is, let it rip below. I'll be happy to get into it with you. But the big takeaway from today is that recording your rehearsals isn't just a good idea. It's essential to leveling up your show. Now, if you like this video, do me a favor, click all the buttons real quick, like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend that you think would benefit from it. Of course, you can always reach out to me directly via DMs and email. Happy to work one-on-one with any of you. And until next time, guys, take care.